RAHM, and today we're going to be talking about, well, just before we started recording, actually, we had a great conversation about autism, because I know this boy who's 11 and he's a little bit autistic, and we just started having a natural conversation about how, we can reverse that, but obviously we have to be very careful with what we say on air because we live in a corrupt world still. I'm just putting it bluntly, but yeah, it was a really good conversation, and I thought we need to be recording this, right?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Christina RAHM, thank you so much for joining me. First of all, how are you, and what have you been up to?
I am doing great. I've been a little bit busy. As usual, we got NSF certified in our manufacturing for athletes, which was a huge thing for us. And now we're going into production with different companies, including Root, of course, in manufacturing because we have kosher, halal, organic, all non-GMO, GMP, NSF. And a lot of people say, what does that mean? That means there's different standards in manufacturing, and we're hitting all those standards. And we're making sure that we're one of the top manufacturing plants in the world. And we're also integrating all the patents that have been formed. A lot of the patents are around manufacturing using frequencies, polarizations, electrolysis. We just got one in the mail yesterday that was approved for silicon dioxide and silicas and using different frequencies in the manufacturing process of that. So that's been extremely exciting. It's not that easy to get patents, and I've noticed people get kind of defensive when you have a lot of patents and they're curious as to why that happens. And basically, you're able to produce something that is innovative, right? That can possibly help in this world with humanity and with business and different things. And so that's taken a lot of my focus. We did make the Stevie Awards are one of the best awards in the world. And we had one in the United States. And then we just got notice this last week. Paris is having their international meeting for all international businesses. And you can look Stevie up. It's one of the few companies you can't buy or pay for any kind of award, right? Because a lot of awards and magazines, if you have a social media presence, they maybe you get more of a wink or a nod for doing something good. But there's certain awards that no, it has to deal strictly with what you've produced. And Dr. Christina RAHM, the brand, won as Innovation and Woman of the Year. And that meeting will be held in Paris. And then Root won for Nutraceutical Company of the Year, a bronze of internationally. So not for affiliate, not for Amazon, not for stores, just overall because of the patents and the manufacturing processes behind Root. So that's kind of a big deal for us. And a lot of people, of course, don't understand that world. And candidly, Nicholas, I don't either. I mean, I'm a scientist, so it's not like that it's the biggest thing for me. But on a platform for business and healthcare, just so you know, if we want to make a difference and we want to touch governments and we want to touch the world, this type of award is important.
Very interesting. Absolutely. Amazing. Now, I want this, this chat is going to be specifically to do with Clean-Slate. And one of the things that you said to me before we started recording is that you don't make anything from Clean-Slate. This is your gift to humanity because you think it's so important that everybody should have it. And you're trying to obviously help the world. So obviously you're doing your piece for humanity here. Can you explain why you think Clean-Slate is the product that you chose that you want to give back to humanity?
Yes, I can. I had Lyme disease. I've had lots of different types of cancer. My family has had Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases as well as cardiovascular. And for me, I have this great family, right? But there's health issues. We all have them in our genetics and epigenetics. And I think me traveling all over the world and being exposed to things like Chernobyl, areas of the world and working on projects doesn't help my health as well. Just flying every day, but 60 days a year doesn't help my health, right? Because I'm always around the radiation. All of us are being exposed to chemtrails, to 5G, not to put down anything that's happening in the data side as with AI, but even our water, right? And the air has been impacted. And we don't really know what to do. And one of the things years ago, understanding where we were going with humanity, I said, we've got to figure out a way to clean people. We've got to detox. And sure, you can put air filters in your houses, which we do. Sure, you can do air filters for the water, which we do. But how do you clean the body? And you can take a bath, you can brush your teeth. No one gets upset about that. All of a sudden, people are upset when a company or companies come out and say, we're trying to help people clean the inside of their bodies. I've made thousands of products in my career. It's the most criticized one probably because I think of the results of what it does. And it's pretty simple. It's just like taking a bath, simple, brushing your teeth, but it's going in and your neurotransmitters have to be cleaned to work, right? Those pathways have to work. The microbiome of the body, we know the GI is attached to the heart, to the brain, to the lungs, to everything. Everything is connected. How do we clean all of that out? We understand we have to clean the soil out, right? We know it's dirty. We know there's GMOs. Why aren't we cleaning our bodies out? So Clean-Slate for me was something that humanity had to have. And it was a hard decision, and I would have thought it would have been easy for me. At first, it was easy. When I first launched it, I needed it for my family. Coming from a family that had had all these different things, and my body personally had been impacted, I wanted to clean out my body. And people were like, but you're the scientist that worked on it. Exactly. It's like if I'm making spaghetti and it's the best spaghetti ever, I want to keep some at my house, right? Only this is a bigger issue. My health is one of the most important things to me because I can't take care of my mom and dad and my kids and my grandson if my health isn't okay, and they can't take care of their own body. So it may sound simple to take a zeolite that you draw a silica out of and you add trace minerals and you add vitamins, but this is a patented process and not just one patent. It's multiple patents on how it can help clean the body, the land, air, and water, even oil and gas and hydrogen, and animals and everything else, because our world is toxic. When you say it's corrupt, it is, but our bodies are toxic. Our world is, and that's part of the corruption, in my opinion. If your pineal gland cannot connect to something higher because there's heavy metals and toxins in the body, then how are you even going to know if you're doing something wrong or right? If you're not connected, how do you know? And so some of the actions that people have lately that I've seen, I'm going to be honest with you, Nicholas, I'm sitting there thinking, this person's toxic, right? We've got to clean their body out. I can't fix a bad person. I can't fix humanity, but what I can do is give the tools. And so for me, this was easy at first because I wanted to produce this as a scientist to help my own family. Then when I realized the revenue it was going to generate, there was a pause. And I've actually never, I don't think I've said this. Again, I tell you a lot. Where I thought, you know what, maybe I do want to benefit from some of that financially. And then my hard decision was no, I'm not going to do that. I think this is something the world needs. Of course, people are going to be upset about something that can make a drastic change gradually. And when I say that, let me explain that. When you go into Kora, which is in Ethiopia, it's a trash city. It's just trash. People live in the trash. Anyone can look up Kora and they can see that the children there are living in the trash. When you have an oil spill or a nuclear waste leak, it's everywhere, right? So you have to gradually clean it up, but you want to do it as fast as possible, but as safely as possible. Because if you clean up oil or a nuclear waste spill the wrong way, it's just going to spread everywhere. Because just like GMOs, these toxic chemicals in our world travel, and they travel in our body too. So they're all around us. And then when you combine 5G, chemtrails, pollution, and all the other things and heavy metals that are even in your toothpaste and water, what is happening on the inside of the body? It's exploding. So people are wondering why in governments and why with people we have all this anger and hatred and power and things are just upside down. One of the simplest solutions to me is we've got to clean out the body, and Clean-Slate is my go-to for that. And I hope people throughout the world are able to use that. I'm very careful about not making claims. My last name used to be Cook, and then I got divorced and went back to my maiden name, which is RAHM. And if you look up Christina RAHM Cook, or you look up Christina RAHM, you'll see a bunch of patents in this space, and the patents are all around cleaning up humanity. The governments, the people in power, do not allow me ever to make a claim. So even if I did something to help with autism, I have to be careful how I talk about that. One of the first patents filed after the patents were approved for the process and manufacturing were things like autism, things like ADHD, right? And I even combined zero in with those patents as well, because that's another adaptogenic. Once you clean things out, then you can support them. Once you clean things out, then you can make them better. Think of it like this. You're in a bad relationship. Someone's abusing you. They're treating you horrible, but you can't get out because you're just so used to it. In fact, you don't even understand how to be in a good relationship. That happens to people all the time. Your body gets used to being dirty. It gets used to being toxic. At first, when you start cleaning it out, people can have more energy, or they can be tired, or they can even have a rash because you're getting rid of the toxins. With people that have neurodegenerative diseases and autoimmune and different types of cancer, we understand that there's cells that are talking that are bad. What we don't talk about enough is an environmental factor probably that triggered that, right? And then inside the body, those cells are just continuing to grow. With autism, I'm going to switch back to that. Another scenario is happening. The neurotransmitters are not communicating right. When you look at brain mapping, there's different things going on. Doesn't mean the person's not smart. It means they're not communicating because everything is not connecting in a typical way. If you gradually start cleaning that out, but also doing it as quickly as possible, you're taking care of that person. And I say this constantly. I feel like people should use Clean-Slate regardless of a diagnosis.
Right.
Because everyone deserves to be clean. But you're going to see different results in different people because some people have disorders and diseases because of these environmental factors. And you can see some results. And I never make the claim that Clean-Slate's doing that. Instead, I say this. People have the right to have the best body they can. People have the right to give their families a product that cleans, just like they would clean their kitchen table or they would give people a bath. Only this to me is more important because you're helping the cells in the body or you're supporting them. So hopefully they make better decisions and they can communicate better. So we've seen results all over the world. I'm not allowed to make claims because it's not allowed by governments. It's not allowed. And you know, if you take a chemotherapy drug and you get better and you go into remission, you can say it's from that chemotherapy drug going into remission that you're in remission. Unfortunately, if you have a natural product that happens with, you can't make that same claim.
Why do you think that is? Why can't we make a claim? If it's true, why should we suppress the truth?
It's the law. And it's not just the law in my country, it's the law in your country. If you ask me why, you know, there's lots of lobbyists. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have lobbyists in your country. There's lots of people in power and money. And when you have things in the stock market, right, you're able to have more power behind you because of that. It's just like if you're a billionaire, right, you have more power because you have the ability to talk about it and to make changes.
And just because it's law, do you believe it's ethical?
No.
So
I think it's sad, actually.
It's very sad.
I actually think it's sad. Yeah.
How can we define what a claim is? Because if you say, you know, this is a detox supplement and it removes heavy metals from the body, can you say that? Is that a claim? Would you consider that as a claim that you can say or you cannot say? It depends on
which government you're in. But I will say this: you can talk about different things, but if I do, because I'm the scientist that formulated that, or someone trying to sell it, even though I just told you I don't make money from Clean-Slate, I'm still the scientist that designed it. But when people make money, and I want to tell you this, I do understand part of why you can't say that, because in pharmaceutical and biotech, there's more money. It's usually in the stock market or you have major investors behind it. And so you have the money to do extensive research, right? And to get a product to market, it takes like 7 to 14 years, usually 15 years. In the nutraceutical space, you can have natural things. And part of the problem is in the manufacturing business, you can say turmeric curcumin is the same everywhere, but it isn't. And the public doesn't know. And I'm not even sure the governments understand that, right? We get these certifications, which I told you that we got in all the right places for all the right things, but that still doesn't give us the right to make the claim. I can talk about results with people and what I've seen. And I've been very thankful for the doctors that I've worked with and the practitioners that have seen great results. And I want to say this too. A lot of those results are along with pharmaceutical products or without pharmaceutical products, right? So I do understand when something gets an indication, as long as you know what the side effects are, and I want to add that, I think every human deserves the right to know the side effects for a natural product or a pharmaceutical or biotech. Don't you? I mean, don't you think you need to know before you put it in your body what could happen?
Absolutely. But what I say is this, whether you're the scientist or the pharmaceutical and they're making lots of money and it could be biased, as long for me, in my view, if they can prove what they are saying to be true, then why shouldn't they benefit? Why shouldn't they make money? And why shouldn't a lot of people take the product and heal from the product?
I
If it's,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get it. But
my
there's
viewpoint is that it takes money away from big pharma and not
yeah.
privately with people like you who is not controlled, who is able to, who's creating supplements to make a difference in the world to heal
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually was dealing with something with a family member, and even like our VA in our country, they will give you natural products. But the problem is in this country, they don't, where was it manufactured? Was it a contract because they knew someone that benefited within that organization? And I'm not talking about the VA at all. You just don't know why those decisions are made. Then fast forward and you have a company that you see these major changes, right? Because they're detoxing the vitamins and minerals. They're cleaning everything. They're making sure whatever goes in people's bodies, they've integrated frequency, medicine, and science into the products. What is the difference? There's a huge difference, right? Because when you can create something that's bioavailable, efficacious, and safe that can help clean the body, it's better than just taking a regular vitamin C and vitamin D. However, NIH and PubMed and all your science journals, New England Journal of Medicine, I could go on, Oxford, they've done studies on vitamins and they've published more data. So it's a little bit easier to talk about. So one of my focuses as a scientist since I've been in nutraceuticals has been to publish data in different scientific journals. And if you fast forward to today, we've done that all over. We're publishing everywhere. And I attended a biohacking conference. And I was on a panel and someone said, natural products, one of the reasons they're not approved is there's no literature reviews, white papers, studies around it. And that's not true because we've done it, but it still doesn't give us the right to make a claim, but it gives us the right as scientists to publish that. And I can send you over some of the information, for example, that's published on autism and ADHD and different types of autoimmune disorders and cancer. They're published. It's out there, but still it's highly regulated. And you're right. It's because we don't have the power that the pharmaceutical biotech industry has.
Okay, cool. So I want to fast forward a little bit, and I want to start talking about. I want to ask you this question. So with Clean-Slate, it's one that you've decided that you want to give back to humanity, and if you could share some results with, how Clean-Slate has helped different people, and if you can share different cases. For an example, it reversed XYZ, or this person or this boy with autism wasn't able to speak, but now he can speak. I'm just making, I'm an unqualified person.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I have a very good friend, Priscilla Buscher, and she lives in Switzerland. She actually is doing a documentary right now on detoxification and mold. And she had two kids, and they, one of them had, I hate saying someone has an extreme case of autism because it sounds bad. I'm not putting down a person, but symptoms from that, right? From autism, and it impacted his life greatly. And she became a very big advocate because she had had mold in her house. And so she wondered if the autism was from the mold, and she had been exposed to heavy metals. So had the family. So she just thought it was worth a shot, right? Of trying Clean-Slate along with some other products. And they saw dramatic results. So we have published, we have written about that. When you say dramatic results, you're asking me what I mean. And what I love to say to people is, I'm not claiming Clean-Slate did that. There were other things involved as well, but Clean-Slate was one of the factors, right? And this gentleman who wasn't talking, wasn't interacting, is now getting a degree in engineering and talking, won't stop talking, right? And one of the things I hear from parents a lot when they're using different products, and along with the pathways that traditional doctors have prescribed or on their own, is they weren't prepared for the talking. They weren't prepared for the communication. And they're seeing a lot of that. And some parents will even say the child seems aggravated. And I tell them, be very slow when you use Clean-Slate. Make sure you're drinking lots of water. Again, it's kind of like when you have a baby and you give them their first bath, right? You don't keep them in that bath water for 30 minutes. You're getting them clean and you're getting them used to water, and your inside of your body has to get used to cleaning it out too. And when I use the word detox in some countries, you may not know this, Nicholas, I'm actually not allowed to use the word detox. So in some of your countries in the United States, well, actually it's in Europe, it's not the United States. In Europe, I can't use that word because they don't believe in detoxification. In some countries, they don't believe in the mitochondria of the body. And if you say to me, is that ridiculous? To me, it is. But I understand that every government makes their rules. I don't know what they're based on. But what I do know is when you see results, and I just told, I was representing science and medicine in a marketing meeting. And I said, the biggest thing to do is talk about how the outcomes are there and how people feel, because that matters, right? How they feel and the changes they're seeing. So for me, let's use me as an example. Let's say the doctor says, you've got a rash on your face and I need to prescribe this for you, but nothing happens. I don't see a change. I still have the rash on my face. I have a slight fever. I don't feel good. And then let's say I use natural products. Let's say I decided to use Clean-Slate and Restore, and I start feeling better. If you ask me, do I care that that pharmaceutical had the claim it fixed that? My answer is no, because it didn't fix that, right? And then there's this natural product that did. Does it upset me that I can't make the claim? In my mind, I just want people to get better. I want people to see the change. I want mothers and kids and parents and spouses to see changes in people that are better. And so everything I work on, for me, would I like there to be a claim? I don't know, because I worked in the pharmaceutical and biotech company for years, and we did have claims, right? And we did help people, but I feel like in the nutraceutical space, we've helped as many or more. And because they're just trying something and you don't really have the claim yet, but you see the results. When people tell me they don't see a result with Clean-Slate, here's what I say. Not everyone's going to have a dramatic result. It's just like some people have an extroverted personality. Some people have an introverted personality. And so your body's the same way. Sometimes it will react to a change and you see it. And sometimes it's gradual and you don't know.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean the change isn't taking place. So for example, if you did blood work or you went for an exam and then you started a product, and let's imagine it was Clean-Slate. You go back and you have the same test and you have an improvement. You could probably get back on the call and say to me, I did this for 3 months and this was the result. Is it because of that? I'm not allowed, even though I'm the one that created that, to tell you it was because of that. Yeah. Well, what I can say is I'm so thankful that you saw this change.
And just by that comment, the viewers can read in between the lines and figure it out themselves. Because we had, obviously I understand there's regulations. You're trying to protect yourself and stuff like that, and you don't want to get sued by governments, and you're doing your best to get the products out there. Now, let me ask you this. I have a very good friend of mine, and he has an 11-year-old son. He suffers from gluten, so he can't have any gluten. He just starts throwing up. If he has a little bit of gluten, he'll just start throwing up. And also he has a little bit of autism. I don't really notice it, but sometimes I notice it. He might do like something like this with his hands or something, when he's excited, he might go like this, and kind of, yeah. Slap his laps or something, and his dad also has confirmed to me that he has got some autism as well. So we know that. Now, how do you suggest the 11-year-old boy take Clean-Slate? If you could, how do you think? And then if you could tell us the results that you've seen with autism, and this is for an 11-year-old boy, and also if you could tell us how he can get rid or reverse or help with the gluten-free.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I can't eat a lot of gluten because one of your issues is the body, when it's been exposed to gluten, and I always say it's a GMO issue too, right? Right. Your body can't handle all the toxins and your plants, your wheat, for example, holds on to that. In some countries more than others, but almost everywhere in the world now, even if they say they don't have pesticides or GMOs, there's been something there, right? And that has impacted our body, and it's a tipping point. I said this when the vaccines happened. When your body's exposed to so much so fast, you reach a critical era, and it's happening all over the world right now. I'm sure you know that, Nicholas. I mean, there's so many health issues, mental health issues that people don't even know how to control it. And for me, the way to start someone with any kind of neurodegenerative disease or cognitive functioning issue or neurotransmission issue is to gradually clean. Now, some doctors that are using the products that I made, we have one in the Middle East, for example, he has the opposite belief. He thinks you go very fast into getting people to clean the body and to detox. For me, I say gradual because I've raised 4 kids. And I know how a mother has to raise the 4 kids, and he's a great person as well. But for me, I understand the day-to-day living. And when you have a change in the body, and I spoke about this a little bit earlier, you're going to notice there's a difference, right? So I always tell people to start with 1 drop in the morning with lots of water, 1 drop at night. That may not seem significant to you, Nicholas, but we have seen people that have seen changes in their lives based on that. Someone asked me the other day, could that be fictitious? And my answer was, it was a major change. So it's up to you to know whether it was fictitious or not, right? I can't answer that for the family or the person that does it. We've seen a lot of results with autism. We've seen a lot of results with kids that use it along with pharmaceutical products. A lot of kids that parents don't want to use the pharmaceutical products. And I don't like one of the parents said the other day, well, we're drinking twice as much water because you said to drink tons of water to help clean the body. So I credit the water too. That's my personality, right? And by the way, Clean-Slate can help clean the water. Just so everyone knows, it's a silica, trace minerals, and vitamin C, and naturally it's helping clean water. And we know water is an issue right now, right? Did I file patents on that? Yeah. I did file patents on the land, air, and water and how this product helps clean it out. And that pertains to your body because your body is composed predominantly of water. So if you can't clean that out in your body, we've got a problem. And so these kids are doing that, and they're going up to 5 to 10 drops in the morning, not droppers, drops, and 5 to 10 at night. Restore and Zero In are products that are used along with Clean-Slate with some people. Some people are only using Clean-Slate and they're seeing results. And so we're documenting that through a patient registry, and we have patents and protocols on that. And the way I'm positioning it, and I want your audience to know this, is I now am working with traditional doctors on protocols before, during, and after treatment. So let's say a doctor is doing a peptide and exosome and stem cells because there's some of that that's going on with autism. Let's just use as an example. I've created wellness platforms with the products before, during, and after to support that care. Because again, if peptides, exosomes, ribosomes, and stem cells are put into a dirty body and it's not clean, the pathways can't communicate. Your pathways have to be clean, whether they're hormonal pathways, which we have, nutritional pathways, you have a detoxification pathway, they're all connected, right?
Yeah.
So those have to be cleaned out for the body to respond in an optimal way to anything. So let's say you want to communicate the best with your body, with the cells.
Yeah,
to me, it pertains to you too.
And I'm 36 years old. I don't have or feel that I've got anything specifically wrong with me. I'm not obviously perfect, but in your opinion, and there's probably lots of people watching this right now thinking, I'm in the same position as Nick, where, a little bit younger or older than Nick, and there's nothing specifically wrong with my body either. How many drops should somebody like me be taking per day or in the morning and night? And if I do that and continue that, what do you think I should experience, or should I say, what changes should I experience in the coming months if I stay consistent?
So I always say 5 to 10 drops again in the morning, 5 to 10 drops at night. Some people do them at lunch as well, and add them into the pathway because they feel like it makes a difference, right? To do it 3 times a day, and that could be true because people reach a steady state and peak plasma level, and everybody's cells are different, right? What you would expect is for me, so I've had Lyme's disease. And again, I'm not making a claim, but I can feel and I was diagnosed when I had Lyme's disease with rheumatoid arthritis along with other things, right? And I can feel when I start getting migraines or I start having problems with my joints that I'm not feeling great. For me, Clean Slate really helps me feel better. And again, someone said it the other day, is it placebo? Listen, I don't know. For my body, I start feeling better. I'm less sore. I don't have as many issues to deal with. I can get through the day. I have to produce. So for me, it's a production product. And what I mean by that is I need to produce my human capital. Let me explain that. I
Yeah.
have to be on. And I think the two products for me that make me on and focused and in the game so I can produce are Clean Slate and Zero In, because I'm detoxing, I'm focusing, and I notice a difference. What difference let me tell you how I notice a difference. If I stop taking them, I notice a difference. And if you ask me how long, I have before left things at home and I give them away when I travel. So I have before had 2 weeks without those products, and it was not a good situation. And during those 2 weeks, people would give me Zero In because I was traveling all over the world, but it was almost like they were out of well, everybody. It was like we were selling out. Like one of the things we sell out all the time, the two products that we sell out of the most because we can't keep up with the demand are Clean Slate and Zero In. And people get upset about it. And I'm like, we're trying to produce this as fast as possible, but we're selling at root and we're selling also in different formats. And there's projects that I've gone into with that particular product, and not just for people, but for animals in the land, air, and water. So my answer to that is I notice a difference. It's not even for me. There's a huge difference for me. I can't produce. And so I almost wanted to launch this campaign just about production because I don't think I think I can say that and it's not a claim. Do
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? So let's say your friend has a child with autism. Does that child want to have less tics? Do they want to produce? Do they want to be happier? That's what I look at as the metrics of if products work. And it actually should be, in my opinion, what most people look at.
I see, absolutely. So you're saying that with Clean Slate, you've seen changes in autism, you've seen changes in cancer. Okay. We won't say what changes because then we start going into claims. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm being safe here. Please correct me if you feel unsafe. And the other thing is, how do you think changes can occur for people who are allergic to gluten, especially young children?
So I think getting rid of gluten allergies takes a while because it's infiltrated. Because when you look at gluten and how it impacts, again, I want to go back to GMOs or nuclear waste. I know this sounds crazy to everyone, but it's not. There's chemicals and toxins attached to things we're eating, especially in packaged food, right? And even if someone's cooking it fresh, but it's attached to the flour or the
Mm,
wheat or everything that's in it, then it's spread throughout the body. It's communicating with the body. And I think it takes time to get rid of that. I have not done a study yet or done a protocol. I did do one on gluten sensitivity. I can send you. My experience so far is it takes a lot longer to take care of
right.
this particular diagnosis. And again, with autism, I wouldn't even look at fast results. I would track it and see if, again, I want to go back to this, is the person producing more? Are they happier? Are they able to do things without interruption? Are they able to get rid of some of the movement, right? And different things.
Okay.
With the
Yeah.
gluten sensitivity and gluten allergies, I do think this is a particular product along with another product we have called Clean Spirits that really kind of integrates into that to help with this. But again, for me, what I've seen, and I'm very candid about that, it's not a quick fix. It takes time because it took time to build up. And you might say to me, well, it was 11 years or this was a 6-year-old. No, no, no. this body came out of a mother, right? And the mother is passing on to the child the heavy metals and the toxins, and we know that now. And so there's this compounding effect that I went through earlier with the trash. And we're carrying that on, and people get very offended when I say that. And this is not to criticize any mother. I'm a mother of four, but it's just part of what's happened as we've evolved. So you've got it almost generationally. And when I say that, it's built up and this child has it, right? It was passed on. And then we've got to get rid of the triggers in the body. And to do that, you've got to clean out the pathways. That's my opinion as a scientist.
Absolutely. So I remember before we hit the record button in the beginning, you mentioned something that the boy should start, and there's so many children out there with autism. The rates of autism has increased so much. So this information can apply to a lot of people that if your any children, nephews, nieces, would you recommend, you said 1 drop a day in the morning, 1 drop at night with water, but then you would up it to 5 drops. When would you up it to 5 drops?
Every 2 to 3 days. But some people with autism, if they have younger children, I would wait a week and see. So think about this, and I want everyone to hear me. This is a zeolite that I pulled the silica out. So it's trace minerals, vitamin C silica that's basically been purified, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not like you're putting a bunch of negative things in the body. And that's what's so interesting about things. It's like we can say vitamin C, we know vitamin C helps us, right? But I cleaned that vitamin C. I made sure that it would work and be more bioavailable, or be the best bioavailability that I could find as a scientist. And so it is impacting the body. And everybody will need a different amount. But for most people that are dealing with things that are cognitive, or things that are neurodegenerative, or microbiome issues, which I feel like are related to everyone with autism, there's a component of that. You've really got to clean the body out, and it can take time. So when I say that, Nicholas, we've had people that have reported a change in 2 weeks. We've had people 3 months. We've had people that it took 2 years before they noticed a significant change, and they never went past the 1 or 2 drops in the morning. I know that sounds bizarre to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's consistency.
Yeah. It's the consistency. And again, it's the one product I try not to take a break from. For me, if I don't take zero in, I'm not as focused. And by 4 o'clock, I'm tired, right? 3 or 4 o'clock, I'm tired. And I notice a difference in what I can produce. Clean-Slate, I notice if I don't take it, it's impacting my health. And again, other people are different. But for me, and I don't know if it's because I've had so many things happen in my life, Nicholas, I don't know. I think you're healthy, right? So I think what you would notice is just an improvement in performance. And I hope people see an improvement in quality of life. Again, regardless of a diagnosis, if you have autism, then I hope you do improve your life. I hope you do perform more. And I feel that way with everyone. It's so interesting. We used to get a diagnosis of cancer, and it was like the end of our lives. And now we understand you can have that diagnosis and live for 20, 30 years, right? And so with autism, for me, a lot of people get very overwhelmed with that diagnosis, and they want to fix it really quick. For me, this is part of a journey where you need to have your ability to communicate, and your mind and your emotions to elevate, just like all of us every day, and get better. And I just know the people with autism that have talked to me, that have talked with us, and I'm very sensitive to it because I never do want to make a claim about it. I had a child I worked with over in Austria, and then another one in Switzerland. And last time I was there, they wrote me a book, and they actually wrote it and read it to me. And before, when I had met them, there was not communication. There was a lot of, flapping of the arms and just movement and different things, because they also, one of them had Tourette's along with that. And it was just such a blessing to see a difference. And if there's any small part of that difference that has to do with the vitamin C or trace minerals or silica in the components of Clean-Slate, then I'm so happy, because making a difference in people's lives matters. We can say we put an air conditioner in our home and we feel better because it's cooler, right? Mm-hmm. But yet people are almost kept from saying anything is improving their life if it's natural. It's not right, like what you said earlier. Yeah. And I think People just need to make sure they understand. Listen, if we were giving someone something that was toxic, if we were giving someone to something that could hurt them, that's different. And I do understand those regulations around a nutraceutical industry. And I think that's where people need to understand. Like when you go to a doctor, if they say you can only take the vitamin D they give you, why? Right? Are they making money off of it? So when you said it's not wrong for people to make money, I agree. But I also believe if you're a healthcare practitioner, if you're really doing this the right way, you should look at everything in the toolbox, including natural things, and then choose the best approach. And hopefully people are choosing products where the scientists and the manufacturer are trying to get rid of GMOs and get rid of gluten that's bad, right? So that everything, and heavy metals, so that the products work better.
The issue that I have with the government regulations and how they regulate, advertising pharmaceutical products and supplements is that if there is a product out there, let's just say, hypothetically, you created the cure to cancer and you can cure any cancer. Let's just pretend that you created that one pill and it just gets rid of every cancer. What do you think would happen to you, Dr. Christina RAHM? Do you think that you'll be let out on a leash to help the whole world from cancer?
No.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my point. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah.
But you're doing
I understand
amazing.
Your point.
That's my point. And obviously, you've done a great job explaining everything today, and I really appreciate and respect your position. But again, what comes out of your mouth is you, but what comes out of my mouth as well.
I know, and I love you for that.
Yeah.
I do. No, I really do, because I feel like in my weaknesses, I meet people that have strengths that I don't have, and I'm so thankful for it. I know that the universe brings people together that are needed at a time like this. I believe that. And I do believe that there's like this cloud over us, and some things are opening up where we'll be able to communicate in a better way. And hopefully this message will help someone that hears it today and in the future.
Absolutely. Dr. Christina RAHM, thank you very much. And the link is below for more information on Clean-Slate, so everyone has access to it. Again, it's the one product that Dr. Christina RAHM has decided that she's not profiting from, and something to give back to the people, to humanity. And I thank you so much